Hi guys, I'm back again. I want to talk about something that we all struggle with. Today I'm quite good with the timing of my work, but I'm still, if I don't feel too stressed, I have a tendency to work overtime a little bit with everybody as well, because especially if the sitting is going smooth, easy, and I really enjoy it, sometimes I want to give them extra time and talk to them afterward from time to time. But if my sittings, like I always do, half an hour, I don't spend an hour. That should be something really, really specific, and if that would happen. And that would also mean that I don't have someone after that one, so to speak. That should be the last sitter, and I can take my time to have a good discussion afterwards if I feel that there is a need. But most of us, because we are sensitive, we are so open for emotional blackmail. And that means when the client is coming, you feel the excitement. Well, you can have other clients as well, but mostly you feel the excitement. They want something, they want. If you're not meeting the need of what they're actually coming from, you can sense that they want something else. They want more. And that means when the time is up, you feel like you haven't delivered, and then you're ending up maybe working 1 hour. I even had clients work for 2 hours for certain people, because they felt that they need to give and give and give. And it's also very draining when you do that. So there's something we need to learn. I used to have my alarm on my iPhone when I started to work. If they had iPhone in the beginning, or I had an egg clock or whatever we call it, I had something that binged when it was 5 minutes left. And if I worked on different places, I had someone knock on the door when there were 5 minutes left. So that meant for me that I have 5 minutes now to finish my sitting or my reading off. And it also means that the clients know that the times is soon finished. And that makes it easier, that they also know that. And sometimes when I felt that I've been sitting here 15 minutes extra now, and God, I'm getting tired now, and I don't have the heart to tell them that that's it, I have done my job. It's hard. I used to have a white lie back in the days that I'm so sorry, but I have to finish off now because I need to prepare for my next client. Back in the day, I actually did prepare. I sat and tuned to the spirit before I started to work. I don't do that today. For me, it's just the switch of the mind. I put my intention, I'm gonna work, and I just know that they are there. So I don't need to meditate before, open my chakras or whatever. Mediumship is a very quick and fast energy. And if you see me work, I'm talking quite quickly. I'm very effective when I'm working. So if I would meditate before, I'm slowing my mind down. And then I get all lazy. I can do that if I would go in and do healing or trance. It's nice to be low. But mediumship was fast and bubbly like that. I prefer some really good pop music. It makes me happy. A good laugh, a good discussion, whatever who makes me alert, makes me in a good mood, in a good space. Then I work as best. It's also a lot of the butterflies in the tummy. I hated them in the beginning because they remind me of my anxiety. And it went so far that I actually shut down my nervous system, so I couldn't feel. I pretended I didn't have any. And that wasn't good either. Today, it is my friend. I don't have bats in there anymore. I have one and another butterfly. And for me, it's just a good, healthy sign that I'm actually preparing to do my work. It's part of this work, so we have to make it our best friend and not our worst enemy. So sittings, like I said, emotional draining it can be, especially if you're working from yourself all the time. But it's also very joyful. And you really get to know people from inside, and you see the true beauty in people. I find that really, really beautiful. I think it's easier to love people today because of my work, because I don't see ugly, I don't see evil in anybody. The soul is not evil, the mind might be. So I'm never afraid working with the spirit world, but I can be very afraid of people. People can be really mean and nasty, especially if they're not in a good place themselves. They usually lash out to others. My friend, again, has got some lashes from another colleague, or I wouldn't call it colleague anymore. And I just don't get it. I feel a little bit sad for that person, actually, because if they have so much issues with themselves, so they have to be hurtful to others, there's something wrong. There is really something wrong with them. Anyway, that was not what I was going to talk about. It's the time limit. Because if you're going to do a lot of sittings, make sure you have your time. It also pushes you to be more effective in the beginning. You get to the point immediately. You're meeting the need immediately of the client, and you only need half an hour. Especially if you're working on the spiritual assessments, you know, what's going on in the life, how to bring you to the next step and so on. If you're doing a pure evidential sitting, yeah, half an hour is actually quite effective. And you get a lot of information in there if you don't have silent moments. I am not silent when I'm working, because when I go silent, I usually get my mind in the way. So I like to keep talking and waiting for the inspiration, even if I repeat the last sentence or whatever, to get back into that flow. But yeah, we are all different. And I find it very important that each and everybody find their own unique way to work with the spirit, or work with their own soul and their own intuitiveness. But if there is a needy client, they will sit there for 3 hours and they will still think that you can give them an awful lot more information. So my advice is to keep it down, shorter. Make sure you don't go over the time. Try not to go over the time too much of what you have put out there, because we're all different. I only do half an hour. Some people do 45 minutes. Some people do an hour. And yes, I have done an hour from time to time when they book 2 sittings after each other because they think they need an hour with me. But in all honesty, if it's not pure evidential and they just want more and more and more from the loved ones, it would be very rarely I didn't met your need in the first 15 minutes. And therefore also I always to make sure towards the end say, if there's anything I haven't touched upon, is there anything you want to ask me about, then that's coming in as well. So that's just me, how I'm working, and I suppose everybody have to find their own way. But I mean, I've done a lot of errors, I've done so many mistakes, and I'm in a good, comfortable spot where I do my work today. So I'm trying to help everybody to not go through the same hell that I did during my development. So if I can help anybody, I'm happy. So bye.